This is a video response to a video by Steven Bachman, who made a video called Agent of Doubt, Let's Get the Brain Juices Flowing. Link in the description box to that. That was a response to my video response, which was the last video I made, to a hangout that he was in. And again, I just like to state this up front. Don't know a lot about space. In fact, Inventor Gorilla probably knows more about space because he has explored that subject a lot more in depth. It's about priorities for me. And if I'm going to take my imagination and apply it to these space scenarios, what you're going to see is me shooting down a lot of ideas because of the concept not working in some other area other than space. So, watching Steven's video, and he says that you don't know the answer until you ask the question. And he poses a whole bunch of questions. The first one, he says, how would I get people to the International Space Station? And then he proposes some examples like a space station elevator cable system and helium. Okay, so no, neither of those. Helium would take a lot of helium, and then you're going to be putting a lot of helium into the atmosphere and just using it for something that it would take a lot of helium to do. And you might not know this, but in this past decade, there has actually been helium shortages, where there was no helium for people to buy for like birthday balloons and stuff. Helium, not that common, and when we get it, we need to use it for other things than using, millions of compressed pounds of helium to do something like that. There's all sorts of different purposes that people can have for helium. I don't think that we should dedicate that much of the world's resources to an endeavor such as that. Now, the space station elevator cable system, I actually think that is a bad idea for a completely different reason than you might be thinking. Because I don't like the idea of something poking through the ionosphere and then having like a metal rod going through that ionosphere and going all the way down to the Earth, which is grounded, and the ionosphere over here is charged. I think that's just like a recipe for a giant lightning bolt. For example, if you were to have a cable spool, a very thin cable like a copper spool, and you put that on a model rocket, and you were to let that rocket off into a storm, you're going to get a lightning strike wherever you tie that copper off to. That's how people can affect a lightning strike to happen in a certain place. People have done this, and it works pretty well. The whole lightning rod thing. Yeah, if you're going to take a cable strong enough to be, tethered to the Earth and then go all the way up to the International Space Station, that's just a giant freaking lightning rod. You're going to run into, like, Tower of Babel proportions problems. And what happens when that thing decides to, say, hit the Earth at such a huge velocity, where you've got this giant, cable tethered to the Earth thing that just hits it? Like, all it would take would be one little space rock to push that space station, and it would be tethered and it'd go down. It'd be tugged upon by the tether. It wouldn't be able to efficiently avoid or readjust its orbit. It wouldn't be able to avoid any debris. It would. Yeah, these are the things that are in my mind when I hear an idea like that. But the real answer from my mind, is, when I'm answering the question, how would I get people to the International Space Station? My answer is I wouldn't. Because I think that it's pretty much outmoded technology. And the problem is, we spend bajillions of dollars getting it up there, and then 5 years later, the technology is going to be so much better. Like, I had people on my last video say, put an iPhone into space, and it's got a better camera than a lot of, satellites, and it's got, you could make an app to run it to where that iPhone would be holding more technology than a lot of the satellites that we have out there. You just have to have a little solar panel connected to it to keep it charged, and we could call it and have it run apps and take pictures of things, and it would be better than some of the satellites we have. And that's probably going to remain true of every project that we undertake that takes, a decade to get off the ground. After we've designed it, it takes like a decade to shoot it into space. By that time, people have better technology at their fingertips than is going into space, and that is a shame. It really is. Yeah, but I'd think the International Space Station not something that I even would consider viable for the things that it does. If I were in control of funding, I would place funding elsewhere other than that. Just like I understand why the shuttle program is now shut down. It's because they were using technology that was so freaking old, and we have better ideas on how to get things into space. In order to revamp the entire process and shut down facilities that were, completely just there for creating these giant rockets to shoot, a space shuttle into space that way. In order to divert funds into better ways, we had to shut down, the entire space program almost, just in order to save up the money to start something else. And that's this period, this lull that we're in. I don't think that it's something that people have lost any sort of curiosity. I think it's just a matter of there are hundreds of people who lost a job that they thought would be there forever, because everybody thinks their job is going to be there forever, but they're like, What do you mean I'm not making that ring for the rocket that puts the space shuttle into space anymore? What do you mean you got to take all of those people and retrain them into some other aspect of this new program, and you got to take entire space launch pads and convert them into whatever, because these things were like bajillions of dollars, and some of them are now just going to be relics, you know, relics that were hardly used ever. Yeah, and we look at it for in hindsight as like wasteful spending, but that's how much it cost to get those things up into space, and now it's like, yeah, we would never ever spend that much money on the type of technology that we got for our money back then. Back then it was state of the art. Now it's crap. So I guess even further than that, my answer is I wouldn't take people to the International Space Station. I would only want to invest in technology that is state of the art and take things from the idea level to actually executing in less than a year, in order to not be putting obsolete technology into space or working with obsolete technology. Screw all that. And I would crowdsource a lot of the stuff instead of paying a bajillion scientists to be top secret and all that. Screw that. I would make it all open source and crowdsource answers and put every mind on it. Maybe not the best minds, and just putting them all in a room. I'm saying the better answers would probably come from a million minds than our best 10. You know, crowdsourced answers and reevaluating our spending and our concept to actual launch timelines. Those are things that I would really focus on. Another question was, how would I propel a ship? I've seen a couple of documentaries about how ships could be propelled, and some of them even involve, over time, just emitting electrons that would be collected through charging and through just electron emissions on the back of something. Over time, its speed would pick up because there's nothing to decelerate it. You know, we could get things to like a quarter the speed of light after a while. But there wouldn't be people on it because we don't have the technology to have a self-sustaining colony, that isn't like cryo-frozen. you know, I think maybe the biosphere projects were a step in the right direction. We need to really concentrate on, once we get out there, how do we become self-sustaining out there, and not have to have any supplies shipped from down here on Earth. And when you say, how do I propel a ship, I like that some of your answers don't require a lot of refueling. Like you're thinking a nuclear fuel capsule would be really compact, and so we could carry maybe a lot of them and not have to run out. But I think the reality is, even those would run out if we were using them in a method that would get us anywhere close to getting results or bang for our buck. So, my answer to this, and this is very conventional from my experience, is to have gas stations along the way. I do a lot of road trips. You might not know this about me, Steven. But what I know about these road trips is you can't take enough gas with you. You have to stop for gas along the way. So I would first be eyeballing Titan. And from what I know about Titan, it has a lot of methane, right? And it's a very crude energy source. Yes, I'll agree to that. But I think using that crude energy source, which actually gives you a vast amount of usable energy very quickly, we might be able to put a lot of machinery into space that would then be able to make some of these alternate fuel sources that we would need, to use Titan as a refueling point. Basically, start at the industrial age and move your way up, but use those industrial age fuels in order to get that other technology. Because, just sending solar powered little drone vehicles to Titan would take, their output for work would suck. So, yeah, how would I propel a ship? I would find methods to pre put a lot of gas stations along the way. And, some of that might take some exploration, some of that might take a lot of pre planning, but, you know, it's to me it's more economical than thinking that you can build this self-sustaining, almost perpetual motion machine style engine for a spacecraft and then get any sort of output out of it. I think it'd probably get us to our goals a lot quicker if we just try to be a little bit more conventional, at least to start. And I guess the last thing I want to talk about, because Steven Bachman got my brain juices flowing, as it were, was an idea that I had for how to explore the moon. And here's my idea: moonscaping with radio controlled construction devices. And the way that I would do it would be to let people rent the ability to drive something on the moon. The moon isn't so far away that we wouldn't be able to control something with commands and have people have fun doing it. Kind of like how bajillions of people are playing Minecraft right now. I think that people might pay for the chance to pilot something that's actually digging on the moon. And part of the reason why it's so hard to have missions to the moon, or to anything else for that matter, is because there are no runways or landing places that are, pre-cleared out. Well, if you put a whole bunch of radio-controlled cars with bulldozer heads on them and, let people control them, they might use these, with a solar powered power-up station that they have to park at, or Maybe they just have a solar panel on them directly, each one of them. They might use these cooperatively to build a sort of space airport, as it were. And the reason why I would want to do it this way, this moonscaping, is you don't get any of this for free. You know, you have to find some way to fund it. And I feel like people using that free time of theirs to have fun working on a project like this might be just enough to fund clearing of this runway or landing pad, or and then a little bit of construction in order to make things perfect for the arrival of some other craft. So that's my ramble. Link in the description box to Steven's video that I'm responding to. But also, if you have stayed this long, I'm going to leave another link hidden beneath that one. And the other link is a drama video. And I've just uploaded it. And if you want to see that video, yeah, it's hidden. Like, you'll have to do the show more in order to see that one. Laters.